Third tier.
Yep.
So if the others were like second and goal inside the 8, this is actually an interesting tier because I think it's the best way to describe them is they are third and goal inside the 2.
Okay.
So they got to go. They have fewer yards they got to get, but they've only got 2 chances here at most,
right,
to get across the goal line, and that's Denver and Minnesota, who are always kind of living dangerously. With Minnesota, it's the way that you can exploit their lineups, the problems that they have with Naz Reid is such a weapon for them in the regular season and gets exposed, in my opinion, a lot in the playoffs. They trade for Ayo Dosunmu, who's trying to get caught up as a trade piece immediately. It's Anthony Edwards, who continues to just be livid with the fact that teams are allowed to double team him as if that's a new thing and something that not everyone faces. It's about Rudy Gobert and the lack of the team's confidence in his ability to finish plays and really the confidence of everyone on the planet, but also the fact that they win their minutes with Rudy. But this team has made the conference finals 2 years in a row. And I still kind of look at them. If you look at their overall profile, they are so much better than their record. They and Denver have the same case here, which is why they're in the same tier, which is it should honestly probably be OKC and then San Antonio, Minnesota, Denver scrapping for 2, and then a gap, and then Houston, LA scrapping for the rest. And instead, what we have is the current tier system, which is OKC and then San Antonio and then everybody else. Both these teams have reasons. With Denver, it's injuries.
Yeah.
With the Wolves, it's their general Wolvesness, their immaturity. It's an immaturity that I think can be very centrally located around Ant. And this is not Ant's not built for this, or Ant's not that guy. No, he is that guy. He's very clearly that guy, but he's not that guy every night. And that means that their floor in the regular season, they beat OKC, they turn around, they lose to some obnoxious team. They barely get by Memphis last night. Like, they scrap in these games more than they have to because they don't have a collective maturity to manage the regular season appropriately. And Denver is, when they are fully healthy, they're a juggernaut. Anything less than that, and they're compromised. The defense is legitimately concerning. Like, Nuggets fans are in a much worse state, I think, than everyone around the league in terms of all of the people that we know and listen to, like Zach Lowe, Dunker Spot. Everyone's smart is like, oh, they're going to be fine. When they're fully healthy, they're great. And everyone in Denver's like, look, man, they haven't been healthy in 3 months. We don't know what they're going to look like now. That was a long time ago. And they've been mid to below mid for 2.5 months. So I don't know what's going to happen. I am of the opinion of, when I go back and I watch, it's just like, I put the clips that I watch for teams on a random order because I want to kind of see what happens across games and not get caught in the context of it. I will watch games, but I'll also watch these clips. And with Denver, you will just notice like, oh, the effort level was really terrible. Oh, they're facing a below 500 team. Oh, wow, the defensive effort was really high there. Oh, they were facing a contender.
Yeah.
Denver scales up and levels down, I think, a little bit too much to who they're facing, but they are still the number 1 offense and most dangerous team in the league when they're fully healthy.
I love that game that they played against the Thunder last Friday night. I know they lost that game, but that was, to me, proof of concept of exactly what you're talking about. This team can go toe-to-toe with the Thunder, which is obviously the top team in the league right now.
Yep.
And maybe we should have already known that, right? Maybe we should have just trusted Jokic and this Denver Nuggets team and Jamal Murray and all that, everything. But to your point, it had been a minute. And so to see him do it with an unhealthy lineup, right? No Peyton Watson, no Aaron Gordon in that game. Cam Johnson not playing a good game, missing that. But, Cam Johnson had a wide open corner and a three-pointer to win the game in regulation. And if he hits that, then the Nuggets walk away with a statement win, one of their best wins of the season. I felt better about Denver after that Friday night game than I did prior to it. But to your point, it's all health with them, and hopefully they get Aaron Gordon back here soon, and we're able to answer some more of these questions. The team that's more interesting in this tier is Minnesota. And I think you're hitting on something that's really important in terms of the overall maturity level and just sort of the vibes in Minnesota. Timberwolves fans will tell you, hey, we were the 6th seed last year. We made it to the Western Conference Finals for the 2nd year in a row. Doubt us if you want, right? Mm-hmm. And, totally fair. Like, you were in the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. Ant is that guy in the playoffs. Julius Randle was really good for you for 60 to 70% of the playoffs last year. There's real stuff here. Chris Finch is obviously a good playoff coach in between games and in between and during series. Like, we know this about them. But there is just something off about them this year that's different. And I don't want to do the whole Gobert thing necessarily, but some of the quotes lately, he's asked about Kyle Anderson and what he likes about having Kyle Anderson. He says he passes the ball to his teammates.
Yeah.
That doesn't ring awesome in that locker room, right?
Well,
that's
so there, I will go, but kind of come back at you, which is
the
anecdotal stuff. I think is important when it comes to Rudy. Ant was like really hyping him up. I forget which game it was recently, but he was like super hyping him up on the mic. And that to me is like really relevant. I do think that Rudy gets really frustrated by the fact of he doesn't get the opportunities. He's like, if I'm wide open, throw me the ball. And they're like, yeah, but you might not catch it and might not finish it. And then I'm really mad that I gave you the ball. And his thing is, I can't develop a rhythm and a confidence if I don't get the ball. Like, it's this really chicken and the egg thing where it's Rudy is obviously very nervous when he gets the ball, even as much as he plays, because he doesn't want to screw up because they don't pass it to him. But they don't pass it to him because he screws up. And it's like, you don't really know how to figure it out. I do just think, though, that they do have a collective mindset of they want to win, and they have a real pride about winning. Their performance versus Denver the other night was extremely impressive.
Yep.
So I just kind of feel like Minnesota, look, top 10, or they're now 11th in offense. They keep bouncing in and out of the top 10. 11th in offense, 9th in defense, schedule adjusted. There aren't these like giant red flags with their profile of being like, oh God, they're terrible. Like, their turnovers used to be really the bugaboo. They're 14th in that category. They're fine.
Yep.
It's not great. It's fine. Now the defense isn't quite as elite as it has been. Like, they're 7th in opponent effective field goal percentage, but you know that their best defensive effort is as good as any teams in the league. Like, I feel like it is as good as OKC's, as Detroit's. I feel like they are, when they commit and lock in, they are capable of being a nightmare defensively. So I still think that they have a very good shot at making the conference finals. So much of this, honestly, with this tier comes down to this. One of these teams is probably, I don't think it's going to be Houston getting the 3. I don't think it's going to be LA getting the 3. One of these teams is going to have home court versus a weaker opponent, and one of these teams is not. And that gap is massive. Like, if you could tell me right now who gets the 3 and who gets the 4, that's going to move one team down, whoever gets the 4. Because that means that you're facing the team that isn't kind of like spiraling and, finishes the season in a disappointing fashion. Like, they couldn't hang with the seeding competition. And maybe it's Denver. Maybe if Denver just slides to 6, and that's Minnesota, Denver. But I just kind of feel like this is the problem with Denver is, as good as they are and as good as they're capable of being, you have to be able to be like, going on the road 3 rounds is just so tough. It just is so tough. And so I feel like these teams have to make it easier on themselves than they do. And if they did, they would be at one tier above with the Spurs.
I think that's exactly what it is, right? Both of these teams have a knack for making it harder on themselves than they should, and that's probably why the confidence is a little bit shakier in them than it is on the teams in the tiers above them. I think that's exactly right. I still love this Minnesota team. There's just something happening here where it feels like eventually Anthony Edwards is going to ascend past where this Timberwolves roster is, because there's just too many guys that are on the other side of their trajectory. Ant is just moving up. I don't know if that's happening